Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at the source materials on a really fascinating figure, Abdul Ghaffar Bugti. He's this a multidimensional intellectual and activist from Balochistan in Pakistan.
Right. He isn't just one thing. He's a journalist, a theater director.
And he also works with global institutions like the UN. So our mission here is to unpack how he manages to be this vital bridge, connecting all these different worlds.
He connects the grassroots struggles with the Urdu-speaking public and all the way up to the English-speaking international elite.
It's quite a balancing act.
And to really get Bugti's strategy, you have to understand where he's coming from. Ground zero for his work is the Dera Bugti district.
Okay.
It's a place defined by this central contradiction. It's the ancestral home of the Bugti tribe, but it's also where they found the massive Sui gas field way back in the 1950s.
So it's incredibly important strategically.
Hugely important. And that creates this massive tension between the state's narrative of, development and the actual lived reality for the people there.
Okay, let's unpack this.
And that tension is really a textbook case of what the sources call the resource curse.
The resource curse, right.
I mean, Dera Bugti contributes something like 5 billion Pakistani rupees to the economy annually.
5 billion.
But the socioeconomic numbers are just, well, they're shocking. The overall literacy rate is barely 24%.
And that's just the overall number.
Exactly. If you drill down into some of the more rural pockets, female literacy, it sometimes drops to between 2 and 4%.
2%. That's staggering. It feels less like neglect and more like something intentional. And what stands out in Bugti's work is his focus on the human cost of all this. It's very visceral. He documented one specific tragedy that really cut through all the noise.
Yeah, the maternal health catastrophe.
A catastrophe.
It really is. I mean, here you have a region just brimming with natural gas wealth. And there is not a single functional maternal and child health center.
Not one.
Not one. His fieldwork showed that in 2024, around 30 mothers died during childbirth, often giving birth on mud floors.
Wait, and the documents show that money was approved for a center, right? Something like 350 million rupees?
Yes, approved. But the funds reportedly just vanished. Corruption. Not a single brick was laid.
Wow. That level of documented failure has to be incredibly damaging to the state's narrative.
Precisely. And it confirms this deeper, almost colonial pattern of extraction. This is why Bugti frames Balochistan as the new frontier of a 21st century great game.
Between the U.S. and China.
Right. A rivalry playing out over resources like the Reko Diq copper gold deposit, which is valued at over $100 billion.
And what do the local communities see from that?
Less than 5% of the revenue is reinvested. It just reinforces this idea that it's extraction by design.
So how does one person fight back against a system that entrenched? I mean, we see he uses his identity as a journalist. He's assistant editor for the High Asia Herald.
And he contributes to the Friday Times, always using that primary field data.
But the cultural side is so interesting. Does that multi-platform strategy give him a layer of cover that, straight reporting might not?
It absolutely does. His cultural activism with the Lockmanch Collective is fascinating.
That's his theater troupe.
His progressive theater troupe, yes. And they don't just put on plays, they use the theater of the oppressed methodology.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
It means it's interactive. The audience isn't just watching. They're invited to engage, to come up with solutions to the problems on stage gender issues, labor rights.
So it's not just art, it's building a kind of cultural infrastructure.
Exactly. And that counters the vacuum where extremism can thrive.
So he's fighting on two fronts.
Yeah.
The financial corruption and the ideological vacuum. And that strategy seems to have earned him global leverage.
It did. When he became a trust coordinator for the UN Trust Fund to end violence against women in late 2025.
That wasn't just a career move.
No, it was the payoff. It let him bridge the gap between global funding and the local struggles of women facing that systemic violence on the ground. So his strategic impact is clear. He's built this whole framework for intellectual resistance.
And he moves from local protest to national journalism.
And then to an international institutional role. It's a complete template for effective modern activism.
So what does this all mean? Bugti makes this really provocative argument that the systematic dismantling of the education system, where dropout rates are over 85%, that it's actually beneficial to the status quo.
Because educated youth demand rights.
They demand rights. They challenge extractive industry interests. So the question for you to think about is this. What does it mean when the pursuit of knowledge itself is framed as the biggest threat to the powerful? That's something for you to mull over.